Oh my God. Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody out there in the On the Chain community? Thanks for hanging in there. Chip and I were hanging out, talking, watching videos. We're like, oh,
well, we had some technical difficulty too.
Well, yeah, there were a little bit of mic technical difficulties, but we were getting those worked out. Looked at the clock. We're like, oh my God, show's about to start. Show's started.
We gotta go.
Here we are. Welcome to On the Chain. This morning, we're going to be diving into Ripple's next move. The on-chain economy is here. That's right. And XRP is becoming programmable. That's going to be interesting. Let's see what's going to happen with all of these amazing developments that are coming over to the XRPL and beyond. We'll look at what this means for the future of money. And then we're going to be jumping straight into the political battlefield. Trump versus the press versus Trump, press versus reality. Florida is standing strong, and Europe still on the edge. I don't know what's going on with Europe, but there are some big moves coming out of Italy. But let's go, man. We definitely don't want to miss this one.
Gotta go. Let's do it.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Oh, guys, where are you coming in from today? Where is everybody coming in from?
132. Looks like Chip has problems booting up the Commodore.
No, man, I got zero problems anymore. All the problems rely on Jeff's side.
Here, over on my side.
Oh yeah. We had some microphones. Still have a microphone weird issue going on that we haven't solved, but
very strange.
But it's good. Good morning from South Carolina. Art says we're winning. There's so much. I was talking to a buddy yesterday and saying there's so much winning going on. Like it's like there's more winning and there's more craziness and disconnected from reality on the other side. It's hard to even understand. Like if we had thought about this 5, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we would have been like shocked if this is where we are in society. Mm-hmm. But this is what happens when you start believing your own BS. When you start believing your own BS, you'll convince yourself of anything. And we'll talk about that as well.
Look at that Bamboo XRP.
Bamboo XRP. Whoa. Hey now.
SoCal.
Hey now. Wow, that's a lot.
Damn, Jeff's coming in from Okemos,
Michigan. Whoa. He said what about from back from Punta Gorda. Yeah, Punta Gorda on the west coast over there.
There we
Kendall's
go.
in the building.
Florida's represented here pretty strong. From Celebration all the way to Kendall.
The free state of Florida, let me add.
Free state of Florida.
You got Art right below there, not too far from Celebration, which we have.
Celebrate good times.
So Art, actually Kane Kotz over there was bringing up a good point. He says, "Yo lads, it's been a while for me, and I see the subs haven't shifted at all. Anything happening with that? Why is that?" It's pretty obvious. We have been shadow banned for maybe it's close to 4 years. We were on an ascend up. We hit 26 very fast, and then started coming down.
And then it just been coming down.
We keep losing subs.
Crazy.
For as many subs as we pick up, we lose more. So it's just a steady decline.
That's
just
really
the way
weird.
it is. Don't listen to anything you heard from YouTube. They are not. They went before the one of the committees over there in the Congress, and they're like, "Oh no, we're gonna put everybody back on." And then when people try to get back on YouTube, that were canceled. No, oh, we're not doing that yet. Sorry, we still have the old, policies in place. So that's what it was. He says, I hear that word a lot. What is it? What that means is you don't come up in searches. It's very difficult to find. When somebody, for example, when we go live, I don't get an announcement. Maybe some of you randomly get it. I've got 3 accounts on YouTube. I get 0. I get 0 notifications. Sometimes I'll get one at 8:20. So that's what it means, shadow ban. Yeah, your channel is still live. Yeah, you're still, you can sort of find us, but it gets very difficult to find. You don't come up. The algorithm is completely shifted where it buries you everywhere that it can. Where you'll get the same fudsters talking about, what are you going to do when XRP hits $1,100? You'll get that stuff, but you won't get anybody talking about reality, anybody doing, some commentary on the geopolitical and how it's connected to decentralization. You won't get any that. No, that's not allowed. But people fudding and giving you complete nonsense, that stuff is 100%. And half the stuff I see with these influencers, they continue to rise. They 100,000, they keep going up because they don't talk about politics. That's the first mistake you can make, is do not talk about politics. Yeah. And I also think, too, one of the things I've noticed that on X, even though Elon's been running X for a couple of years now, they have legacy code. There will be some links when I try to share it in a DM, it won't share. It just won't share it. It's banned from legacy code. So sometimes legacy code, even though they might want to change, even though they might want to make a change, once you're shadow banned, once you are, you know, shoved down in the mix, you're done. That's it. Your channel's pretty much over. And
well, somehow it's got to filter out.
Yeah, it filters us out because there's no way. People come in here all the time. They're like, oh my God, you guys should have, yeah. I mean, the thing is we have a very loyal fan base, which we really, you know, are very appreciative of. And there's a lot of new people that kind of come in. And there's a lot of OGs too in the space. Like Hans, you're like one of the ones. Yeah, I remember taking the piss out of it years ago. It's still the same. Yeah, it's gotten a little bit progressively worse. But look, I mean, we're not going to complain about it. We're going to continue to do it. But it happens. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Plus, we got the audio podcast. So lots of people tune in on the audio podcast, which is always great to see.
Actually, more people tune in on the audio podcast, which is why you'll hear either myself or Jeff explain what's going on if we play a video. You'll hear us talking about it. It's not for you guys. You guys can see it. We're doing it for the audio podcast because they hear noise or they hear if it's visual, you got to explain what's happening so that they understand.
There you go. See that?
Well, the best thing to do, we've been airing the same 3 days for, I want to say 4.5, maybe 5 years now. So what I thought would be pretty good to do is to be able to set up somewhere on the website where you can go to the website and download.
Watch it there.
You know, download a notification for either for iOS or for Android. That way you download it and it has all the times on. That way your phone pops up and you know that it's airing because it's always the same. It's 8 o'clock. On Wednesdays and Sunday nights at Eastern time, and then at 8 a.m. on 8 a.m. ish.
Today went
a little
anywhere between 8 to 8:15 start times.
But also too, we are making some changes around here. We are elevating since the coffee brand is doing well, and since that we originally had this intent though, everything was formatted around badass Yetis, badass this, badass. We got the badass chimps that are going to be minting soon over at XRP Cafe. We got some other things in the works. And so Jeff and I just kind of put our thinking caps on and said, you know, it doesn't really, the brand is bigger than just the chimps or the Yetis or the Yowies or whatever it's going to be. So we're going to rebrand it as Badassery. And I'm going to show you the very first commercial for the Badassery coffee brand. The URL doesn't work. It will work this week, but we're going to change that. Badass Yetis coffee will still go to the right place, but we're rebranding it as Badassery coffee. And again, Badassery will be the sort of like parent name. That way it gives us a lot of flexibility in what we can do and what we can roll out.
It'll be the Badassery brand.
Badassery brand. So here is the Badass, the very first commercial rolling out for the Badassery brand. And just so you know, badasserycoffee.com doesn't work yet, but it will this week. You can still go to badassyetis.com and grab and buy your coffee.
You guys are getting a sneak peek.
And thank you for everybody that patronized it. But here we go. Let's get your opinion on this. Here we go.
$5 for a latte. Half of that feeds some hipster's avocado toast habit paired with an oat milk manifesto. Quit financing coffee fads you don't need. It's time to rebel. Your badass great-grandpa had only one tin cup and brewed his coffee over an open fire. We roast to order, ship free, and keep every bean bold enough to wake the dead, or at least your 9 a.m. meeting. We make coffee that punches Mondays in the face. Badassery coffee. Fresh, fierce, fucking great. Roasted fresh, shipped free. Chaos pending. Order now at badasserycoffee.com. badasserycoffee.com.
There you go.
Have it. There you have it, guys.
So I love it. Punch Monday in the face. That's funny.
Did we mention the show is brought to you today by Badassery Coffee? I thought we
Badass coffee.
Badassery, baby. Badassery, people.
Right.
So there you have it. Let's get into some news here, Jeff. I think it's probably
badass coffee. Badass coffee. Is there a badass coffee?
Oh, there's a badass everything. I mean, I'm not worried about getting sued at all because Badassery is the name of a brand, and Badassery is going to People said, "Oh, are you worried about getting sued by Yeti?" I'm like, well, first of all, the Yeti people that make these cups or coolers, they never mention a Yeti at all. It's just YETI. It's like it's just a random word.
Right.
The guy said he thought about that when he named it, but there's no relation to. So I'm like, does anybody have dibs on Sasquatch or Bigfoot or So no.
Badass coffee, badassery. It's different.
It is different. Yeah, it is different. And of course, it does feature the bags won't change for the badass Yetis. Will still stay the same. We'll add probably some new ones. But again, it gives us more flexibility, especially if we add some coffee that features the badass chimps on it. So it would change. Badass brew. We actually do own one of the URLs, I think, is Badass Brew.
Yep. Badass brew.
I think Badass Brew, I think, is one of the ones, but that one is a little too close. We want to make sure Badassery is like the
Badassery. That's why it's.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with the brand, but you know what their brand doesn't do?
What?
It doesn't roast it to order. It sits on a shelf for 6 to 9 months, and then by the time you get it, you're like, oh, this coffee tastes a little not so good. It's like it tastes okay. It's not.
They got.
So.
And it's
Here.
and their badass happens to be a donkey logo, so they're badass from a donkey.
Which is a poor choice because that's the same logo that represents the Democrat Party. Just saying.
Right? Yeah.
I'm just saying. So
That's right. It's a very poor choice.
yeah.
Poor choices being made.
Well, you guys, what I say is, you guys check out which one you like and buy the one you like. If you like badass coffee, buy it. Badass. You see it because it's an ass. I get it. See, that's another thing too. Theirs is based off an ass. Ours is named off the phrase.
That's
You're a
right.
badass. So maybe there's a double sort of meaning. So it looks like it's coffee from, where is it from? Is this from Hawaii? Coffee.
Hawaii.
There you go.
Hawaii.
There you
Hawaii.
have it. Hawaii.
Oh, Hawaii.
Hawaii, man. That's
All right.
the way it is. All right, let me. I'm gonna go ahead
Get into
and
some stuff.
let's get into some stuff here. I want to put this guy on here. Let's cue this puppy up, and we'll get this thing ready for going on. There we go. So this was posted by Ripple X here, and I'll play the video in a second. But this is it says the next generation of money requires transaction freedom and a structure that guarantees open access and reliability. Tune into episode 3 of Onchain Economy. Of course, you can watch that. Arthur Sabintsev of CEO of Build with Grove explains how the POKT Network helps decentralize the XRPL EVM sidechain, I should say, built on Cosmos and connected through Axelar, key to making XRP fully programmable. And Jeff teased that a little bit at the beginning. So what we'll do is we'll play the video here, and then we'll come back and chat about it. It's a short video.
Trying to build the future of money here in this space. You can't have money just fail because of infrastructure failure. You should have the ability to have freedom of transaction, right?
Sure. Leveraging XRPL EVM infrastructure.
It's interesting. The infrastructure.
Yeah,
good.
it's bad if the infrastructure fails. It's not a good look, but that is all possible.
Mm.
And then the next thing we want to talk about too is I would just say, like, probably one of the best things that comes out every single month. Dan Fisher's, he does a lot of phenomenal work. He basically will hunt down and put together an amazing newsletter that has every possible cool thing that's going on. So this is, we probably can't get into everything here because he does a really good job of how in-depth it is. But I will say this, that it's one of the things I look forward to. So when it drops, I go through it and kind of check everything out. But this is a September edition of the XRPL Community Summary. Catch up on some of this month's key developments, share anything I missed in the comments, and really doesn't miss much. I mean, you couldn't jam-pack this with any more good stuff. Here's a feature on the Joey wallet onboarding guide, which talks about the ease of use. And Joey wallet will be something else, too, that you will be able to connect to. XRP Cafe. If you have the Joey wallet, don't necessarily just need just the Zaman wallet, But again, it's the same people from XRP Cafe, First Ledger, the same people behind the Joey wallet. So of course their wallet's going to connect. So we'll say Zaman wallet, but Joey wallet connects as well. And here they are talking about how easy it is to use. XRP scans, new amendment, voting timeline. For example, the token escrow provides more visibility into validator operation, encourages productive feedback and dialogue within the community, which is good. XRP scan, you guys probably know that. It's good to go check out stuff from time to time. The Zaman Wallets update eliminates, this is a big one, Jeff. I always hated setting trust lines, and I never liked setting trust lines, but the Zaman Wallet update will eliminate trust lines if you're doing a token transfer. So the trend is clear. Users experience XRPL's efficiency without the extra steps, and it's just not even fun to do it. So this is a huge development, especially with all the new tokens. If you go over to First Ledger, you can see all the meme tokens that are there. It just makes everyone's life a lot easier. So this is a very cool thing, sending tokens without the trust line. I don't know how they're doing that. Probably setting a trust line in the background because they haven't changed the XRPL. But again, the whole idea of creating software is to create less friction and to create so it's easier for people to use. And nobody likes setting trust lines. So there you go. The credentials amendment went live. This advances compliance features on the XRP Ledger, streamlines the identity verification, enabling regulated interactions that protect users and market. And here's Vet's post right here. I reached out to Vet and said, hey, you're going to be over at Swell, and he's like, dude, I'm not going. I was like, oh man, I was looking forward to meeting you. I always miss Vet at like meeting in person. I've met a lot of the guys over there, especially at XRP Cafe, First Ledger, but I've not met him in person yet. Also, here's a thread from Ripple engineer Kenny with an educational breakdown on the credentials and how they empower developers and businesses. This is a very good one. It's something we normally would cover, but again, we just don't have the time to, we'd be here much later. XRPL Commons announced Game Chain. This is a gaming ecosystem on the XRPL EVM sidechain currently live on testnet. PeerSit sees this as a natural fit since XRP and the network deliver the speed of gaming demands. As you can see, this is jam-packed. Crypto Eddie's overview of the XRPL Commons collaboration with B3 spotlights XRP rewards and XAID. It's a testnet, launches bridges, entertainment, and XRP utility, powered by PeerSit's XRPL EVM sidechain, offers new ways to earn through gaming experiences. Like there's so much stuff going on, Jeff. We can't even keep up with all the cool stuff that's going on. It's just like an amazing amount of stuff right here. And there's
going to be more and more, a lot of development.
It's so great to see how it's exploded. I was like, this is one of the more exciting updates that I've seen. And again, Dan does a great job of compiling stuff. You can't put everything in here, but just the sheer vast stuff. This is just September, right, if you think about it. AI Agent app is in public beta. This is AI Agent.run. The terminal is live. Trade, analyze, and strategize. Strategic. What is that? Was that word? Strategery. Strategery. All in a natural language. There you go, right there. So bringing AI to the, to do automated sort of. Yeah, this is I believe this is Shen's team that does this, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it AI agent or AI gent?
It's AI gent. It's like it's a spin on agent, but AI gent. So yeah, this is another cool thing, but you can basically automate trading strategy and optimize everything like in one place. It's very cool. I haven't tried it yet, but one of these times these will go around to it. Chain analysis added XRPL token support, improving compliance. Update enhances the security of the XRP holders through robust monitoring, mitigating tasks within a thriving ecosystem. Again, more cool stuff. So I would go follow Dan Fisher, and he runs community for Ripple. Does a fantastic job. I'm looking forward to meeting Dan up at the Ripple Swell in a couple weeks, which I will be there. I'm excited, first time going to that. Crippen Writer puts out great stuff as well. He puts an in-depth exploration of XRPL lending mechanics, clarifies yield generations, risks, and rewards, lays it all out. Ripple's $25 million RLUSD donation to small businesses and veterans was done on chain, channeling the XRPL's efficiency into a worthy cause. And again, So much stuff. If you're not paying attention, you might have missed it. Crippen Writer does a crash course on permissioned decentralized exchange. It's worth the time to kind of run through that. And I'll post this thing into the chat. But I would guys recommend go following Dan Fisher, and then also to I would check this out when you get some time to go through stuff in more in depth. Ripple X institutional DeFi roadmap talks about the proposed lending protocol, private transactions on the XRPL. This is another interesting development, private transactions, Jeff. I don't know how that whole thing's going to work, but again, that's the next phase of DeFi. XRPL Commons DeFi-focused aquarium residency accelerates innovation. Jeff, this is just September. It's insane. Like, we don't even have time to go through it all. That's how crazy. Zaman's wallet integration integrates MoonPay. You saw that the Joey wallet has MoonPay, and this talks about fiat XRPL. XRP flow holders can now cash out seamlessly right in the app. You don't have to send it somewhere else. You can do it right through the Zaman wallet. Same thing with the Joey wallet. There it is right there. Off ramping is now available. So again, it's just getting so freaking cool, full featured.
Look at that.
We're living in a good time, Jeff. XRP Soul, talked about that. I know we covered that pretty extensively.
25 is the focus on building and development, Chip. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
25 is the focus on getting out of the lawsuit. 26 is going to be massive. 26 is going to set the direction. It's going to set the tone of what happens, in the future, because we're also going to start getting more regulatory clarity, fine-tuned here in the U.S. There's some battles going on right now, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. There's some, fuckery going on, and so we got to kind of review exactly what all that means and what the outcome, of that could be. But the battle's being waged. This is a pure power struggle, and those that have held power for all these years aren't just going to say, hey, this technology is amazing, let's just allow it to happen. Think about even this AI run, what you can do, and people have been doing this for a long time, obviously self-trade platforms, but now imagine you input AI, and the brightest minds, the brightest trade minds can't outsmart and outwit AI potentially. So the question is, even from a stock trade perspective, at what point does a stock trader that is managing an ETF or managing a mutual fund or managing your portfolio, at what point do they become irrelevant? They're, or I won't say everyone becomes irrelevant, but the bulk of the personnel become irrelevant. Like, how many people do you actually need then if you have something like the AI gent that you can ask questions? It can set everything up for you. If you don't know how to do it, you don't necessarily have to know how to navigate it. It's like, hey, I want to trade such and such. What do you recommend? And right away, I'm like, well, how do you set up an automated trade? Because it says, well, you can set up an automated trade. You can swap tokens. You can explore on-chain data. You can get market summaries. It's like, okay, I'm interested. I want to know the top 10. What should I be investing in right now? What's high risk? What's low risk? What's medium risk? Boom, it tells you. And then, you can kind of go through it and say, okay, I want to set up automated trades. What exactly is that? Well, you can set up strategies with stop loss, take profits, reoccurring buys. Just describe what you want, but then you ask, what do I want? How do I do it? What do I need? And here it is. Here's an example. You tell it, set a stop loss, sell 100 XRP if the price drops below 50 cents. I mean, how great is that? So now you can do all sorts of amazing chains on your cell that you would have to do multiple lines of trade, if you wanted to sell off a little bit at every stop point. Here you can create a whole strategy, and the agent is going to help you confirm it, or even estimate fees in advance. It's going to help you create the automation. It can adjust automation. It can notify you on automation. And then you think about it as these agents are coming in, the other component of the agent running on an XRPL. I mean, think about the trust line, the token analysis, the sell-off. I mean, all of the different components that go along with this, with the agent. And all this stuff's obviously it's happening at such a rapid pace right now. But then you put the parallel, which is all the legacy financial infrastructure from the banking all the way down through government control, through from sovereign currency, the battle over stable coin to a central bank digital currency. All that stuff's being waged behind the scenes. Technology is amazing. Technology can only advance if all the regulatory and compliance comes into focus. In order for that to come into focus, those that manage and maintain power either have to be replaced or they have to become acceptant of what's happening. So there's all these different elements that have to happen, in the interim. It's not going to happen overnight. Obviously a decade has passed since all this has been rolled out. So it's, minimum 10 years. The financial system's been around longer than 10 years. So the power echelon has been there much longer. And so they're not just going to say, hey, this is great, go ahead, you guys take it from here, we're out. Even though PayPal's been around a long time, but PayPal adhered to all the legacy principle. It was just kind of a digitized online credit card, so to speak, so it's interesting. Chip, it's amazing.
Truly, it's an amazing time we live in, if you think about it. It's a really cool time we live in. I mean, it's amazing to see all the cool stuff that's going on. This was kind of an interesting thing that kind of caught me off guard, but I was looking at this. So Charles Gasparino over there at Fox Business said a scoop. People are close to CZ. You guys all know CZ from the Binance days. The former Binance chief who spent some time in the can because of the Biden administration's crackdown on all things crypto, says discussions inside the White House are heating up on the possibility of a pardon from Donald Trump. Many Trump insiders believe the fraud case against Changpeng Zhao, best known in the digital space as CZ, was pretty weak and certainly not something that merited a felony charge and jail time. Trump, people close to CZ say, is leaning towards a pardon, consider the source, which could set the stage for CZ's return to the crypto exchange since he remains Binance's largest shareholder. Some in the White House are worrying about the optics of a pardon given the president's business interests in crypto. So the situation is obviously fluid. That said, the decision is said to be soon. Keep in mind that these things often drag on much longer than expected, and the president does have more pressing matters that he's dealing with, like getting the Israeli hostages returned, ending the broader Gaza conflict, as well as the one in Ukraine atop the tariffs and trade deal with China. Story developing. Well, interestingly enough, Laura Loomer commented on this. She's like, why would anyone think it's a good idea to give CZ a Chinese national with Emirati citizenship? Why is there so much Islamic influence in the Trump administration? Who is pushing all the Islamic influence? You know who gets Emirati citizenship when they weren't born in the UAE? People who are trying to evade punishment for crimes. Another terrible pardon idea that I'm sure someone's getting paid a lot of money to push. It's like people are just trying to set up the administration at this point. And here... CZ says, Laura, thank you for tagging me. I'm not a Chinese national. Haven't been for 30 years. I have been a Canadian for 30 years. Just like you, I would need a visa should I wish to visit China. Also, many top U.S. entrepreneurs get UAE citizenship. UAE is one of the safest and modern countries in the world. True. I implore you to visit sometime. Please do not project your stereotypes on others. Many thanks. Laura said, you were born in China. UAE is where people go to live when they want to evade the law. Hence the reason why you're running a campaign to get a pardon. It's just more baggage that MAGA doesn't need, but I'm sure you're paying people very well who make enough phone calls to make sure that you get what you need. And the whole thing was kind of blowing up. CZ also said this. Yeah, that was funny too. That's because we had to talk about that. CZ said with one.
Yeah, we'll bring that up here in a minute. Yeah.
With 1.8 million followers, an investigative journalist couldn't get my nationality right. It's public info. A simple Google would do. Or are they writing with motives? So, so now he's going after Laura saying that she's an investigative journalist. She's the best.
That's assuming you know what is.
Well, he was born in China. That's all you need
to know.
That's
assuming that we really know. Right. And that's the bottom line. Yeah, he was born in China. What's the influence? Even though he left 30 years ago, is there any influence whatsoever, from the Chinese? Yeah. Is there any connection? And that's the question, and that's what she's questioning, I think, in that scenario. But he did leave China and he was in Canada. We know that there's a lot of nefarious actors out of China. We know that China places a lot of nefarious actors in different parts of the world. And we also know that any company of size out of China, when they reach a certain point, the Chinese government automatically gets a board seat, a controlling board seat for that company. So, there's some concern, that she's addressing. At the same time, he did a phenomenal job building out Binance. So, I don't know. You got to look at everything in perspective. She has some concern. Why are they pardoning a Chinese national? But he's not. He's a Canadian citizen. So I don't know.
Loomer's pretty damn good for.
It's a difficult spot to be in. She digs up a lot of information. She tied together some dots. Why the UAE? And he did. Made a good point. There's a lot of Europeans and entrepreneurs. That would hold. You can have digital citizenship, so you can own a business over there and you can operate over there. Kind of the center of things that happen over in the Middle East in terms of financials. And you have a lot of companies that go to Dubai and the UAE. So
he didn't expose
do people go there to escape? Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it was. Yeah, in this scenario, Chip, it was interesting because we can't forget about what Sam Bankman-Fried did to Mashinsky with Celsius. And what he did was, at that moment, remember, Sam Bankman-Fried came out and said, we're looking at the books and we're going to purchase Celsius. We're going to step in. And then the next day, he said, oh, we looked at the books. We don't like what we see. And that destroyed Celsius because he came out publicly saying it. So it was obviously an ulterior motive. And then what was interesting is that CZ did the exact same thing to Sam Bankman-Fried and destroyed him. And then CZ gets arrested.
Yeah, and if you know the guy, man, he seems like he doesn't seem to be a guy who has an agenda, or I understand you got to poke holes and stuff, but yeah, he doesn't seem to be anybody. But yeah, the whole idea that we charge, because don't forget that was a money laundering campaign, the FTX stuff. Right. All that money was going, 85% of it was going back to Democrats. So you cut off the gravy train. Trump cut off USAID, USAID, and that was funding a lot of the NGOs, and that cut off the gravy train. Because how are you going to pay for the protesters now? How are they going to get out there? And that they don't know what's going on. They're just paid. They hold a sign. They start chanting. You go interview them. They don't know why they're there. They don't know what's going on. They can't answer any legitimate questions. They're just completely disconnected, which obviously isn't a problem too. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Jeff, your sound is out of sync with. Okay, I was seeing that too.
Crypto wealth. Yeah, put that up. Yeah,
I'm hearing you talk, and then your lips will catch up a while. Yeah, there's something weird going on there, Jeff. Like you start talking, and then the sound hits.
We did all the settings. Maybe I have to leave. All right, let me just exit out. I'll come right back. Maybe that. Yeah.
Famous last words, and then next thing you know, we don't hear from Jeff. Jeff doesn't come back in, so he probably had I was seeing that too, and sometimes I didn't know if it was because I had a bad connection, but thanks for pointing that out, where I would see his lips start moving, and then I wouldn't hear the voice. It was like delayed. And then the issue we were having before was I was getting feedback where I was hearing myself double. If you've ever been in a scenario like that, if you're on like a Zoom call or a mobile, you'd hear yourself in your ear, like maybe 2 seconds off, and it drives you crazy.
How about now?
You're back on.
Check
on the mic. You're fine, dude. You're fine. Check.
And it's about the hour.
Hey up. Yeah. So thanks for pointing that out.
Here we go. Are you ready for?
It's halfway past the hour, Jeff. Let's go ahead and put that on. Let's do it.
We're giving away a badass Yeti, a mentalist. I think you guys are gonna like it. This guy is pretty amazing. So if you're into the mentalist, you got to make sure you type in Yeti, because here's the guy that we're giving away today. Badass Yeti number 370. This guy's name is Orvald. He's a mentalist. You need to know the mentalists, and they do everything with their mind. They'll melt your mind with their mind. This guy's pretty kick-ass. Got to look at the detail. Look at those eyes, the hair, just all the detail. Look at that suit that he's got. It looks like a feather suit of some. It almost looks like fur. Look at that. This guy's ready to go. So get ready, because here's the song that goes with him.
A badass Yeti from the Blue Tribe. The mentalists rise. Your key, the Zaman wallet. Your fate on the chain. Armed, mindbreaker of the frost. Mentalist. No blade, no voice, no mercy. Thoughts twist like lightning in the storm. Enemies collapse before they see him move. He walks the silence, unseen, unknown. He bends will, shatters courage, turns warriors into stone. In the frozen void, only his mind remains. Fear the mind! Fear the storm. Ormvold speaks in silence. He kills in thought. Ormvold, the mindbreaker of the Blue Tribe. No weapon forged can match his power. No war can stop his reach. He is the whisper that breaks your soul. He is the calm before the storm. Badass Yetis, born for battle, made for legend. Claim yours or be forgotten. Badass Yetis on the chain. Is on the chain.
There you have it. That is the giveaway for today. We like that one. That's Orvold, the Mind Breaker from the Badass Yetis. So Yetis look cool. There you go. Hey, you did just win. You crushed it. So, oh yeah, let's just go back there soon. Brian Brooks works at Binance. He did. Yep. So it was interesting to see some of the things that happened. And he also left Binance US, the whole Binance US that kind of crashed and came down. So, but everybody, yeah, definitely type in Yeti. It's open to everybody. Everybody gets an opportunity to win one of these badass Yetis, and especially this guy right here. So he is Orvold. So awesome. a lot of things that we got to dig into. We have some other videos that we want to cover. We're going to dig in a little bit more into the geopolitics. There's some things that are happening from a press to Trump perspective. So we got to dig into that. All sorts of crazy things here. So I know Chip's got those videos downloaded. I'm afraid to download a video right now with with some of the audio issues that I was having. So we're going to pull up some of these. We'll start here with something from, here we go. This is Ben Carson. So let me throw this up here. And that AI gent thing was really kick-ass. I like that AI gent. But here's something, and I think this is really important, quote-wise, with Ben Carson. We've been conditioned to think that only politicians can solve our problems, but at some point, maybe we'll wake up and recognize that it was the politicians who created all of our problems.
You think? Yeah, and that's connected. That was connected to a post. If you've been following this whole Winston Murrow Sears, she's a Republican. She's a lieutenant governor right now in Virginia, but she's running for governor. And this Abigail, what's her name? Abigail, the hell's her name? Spanberger. She's the Democrat running. And so the guy who's running on the Democrat ticket for the attorney general, basically it was exposed that he had posted in an email, had said that he hoped the Speaker of the House was dead, died, was somebody would kill, the family would suffer, the kids would die in their arms. And so it's pretty disgusting that there's nothing on the Democrat side that would take you out anymore. This would have been a huge scandal. Immediately person would have been taken out. So this Abigail Spanberger, who's running for governor on the Democrat side, didn't disavow it, didn't say anything about it, was like, okay, like just completely ignored it. And this is like, it's so hard to like understand, but here's Winsome Earl Sears right here. Now, this is how it's done. This is the debate they had. And she goes after her, and look at how she responds. This is how she debates. This is how the Democrats debate, by the way.
Would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail.
She's about to smile.
What if he said it about your your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Miss Earl Sears.
I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it?
No.
Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right? Have some political courage. What you have done is you are taking political calculations about your future as governor. Well, as governor, you have to make hard choices, and that means telling Jay Jones to leave the race.
I have to tell you that Winsome Earl, she's a powerhouse. She's such a rising star. She's so phenomenal. You know, and she's an immigrant herself. She came in, she's Jamaican, and she came in, but she's done such a great job. You know, she already is lieutenant governor, but she's running. When you address somebody on stage, one of the biggest political scandals, all you have to say is, I disavow that. I would never condemn, I would never condone, you know, somebody, you're basically saying go murder Speaker of the House and watch the whole family die. This is like what world are we living in where she's going to sit there and pretend like it doesn't happen? All she has to come out and say, but anyway, everybody's backing her. This is the craziest thing. Now, Jeff, this is listen to this poll was done. Like, that's shocking in itself. Mm-hmm. This is even more shocking. Listen to this.
So I just got a poll, just came out last night, got it when I got up today. This is really going to not sit well with you. And a poll was sanctioned by the John Reed for Lieutenant Governor campaign, so I got the insight on it. It hasn't been released yet. But here's the one number that is going to make you sick to your stomach. Here's the one number. When Democrats in Virginia were asked, did the text that Jay Jones sent to a colleague calling for the assassination of, at that time, Republican Speaker Todd Gilbert, his wife, his kids, hoping his kids would die in her arms so she could suffer, calling for police to die so he could get policy on qualified immunity. When asked the question, are these texts disqualifying for your candidate for Attorney General? 7% of Virginia Democrats said yes. 93 said no. So basically, if you're a Virginia Democrat, you have no problem with your candidate for Attorney General threatening assassination of Speaker of the House, his wife, his kids, want to see the kids die in her arms. We have to see cops die in Virginia. Only 7% reject that. Let that sink in.
Tells you everything that's wrong with the Democrat Party. Jeff, what are your thoughts on that?
Just let that sink in.
It's a lot. It's a lot, Jeff. I'm like 7% think, yeah, that should disqualify you. 93% say, nah, that's okay. Calling for and this is why there's such
unreal.
It's like I said, it's like are we living in, what kind of times are we living in right now? And this right here, I wanted to play this because this kind of like dovetails into what was just said about how there's such a disconnect.
This is so dangerous from the left, and it's not as dangerous from the right. It's because the people who are on the right live in a version of objective reality. We live in the real world. These people do not live in the real world. If you're going to believe that a man is a woman, and you're going to believe that we should have no borders for our country and unlimited numbers of people can turn up and just steal from us, if you're going to believe that criminals shouldn't go to jail, you're not a person who's sensible. You now have no parameters from which to operate your logic. So if you're going to live in a complete fantasy land, it becomes a lot easier to justify murdering a political opponent than it does if you operate from a frame of rationality. So for that reason, the left are far more dangerous, because all of their ideas are dangerous because none of them are true. None of them are real. For the same reason it's dangerous for me to say to you, gravity isn't real, you can jump off a building. If you start believing in things that are completely falsified, completely fantasy, then murder is the end result of all of it. So the left is a serious problem across the world. It's a serious problem across America, especially. You add in a spiritual sickness where we have nothing unifying us in the West anymore. We don't share respect for a flag. We don't share respect for the country we're in. We don't share language. We don't share religion. We don't even share economic prosperity anymore. There's literally nothing unifying us. And if you're going to remove the capability to debate and discuss ideas, then you're going to have an absolute civil war. And that's what's so sad, that Charlie Kirk literally was the number one guy trying to speak. He wasn't trying to inflame tensions. He wasn't trying to push violence. He was the guy saying, look, let's talk this through and let me show you why you're wrong. He was the good guy who did the right thing, and he caught a bullet for it. And that is truly devastating.
You couldn't have said it any better than that. You know, and that's exactly it. And Jim D is saying the loony left, and that's exactly what it is. These people on the left have completely lost the narrative, but it's real easy to lie. You know, it kind of reminds me, you know, Chad says reminds me of the 93% of Gazans that support Hamas. That's exactly it. They lie. They're deceitful. Their media is fake. Everything that they publish is wrong. And they will bend the truth all the way to falsehood, because there's no reality in the majority of what they say. Similar to the Democrats. The Democrats have taken a play out of the Palestinian handbook, which is you lie about stuff, you create fictitious media, you use the people, you murder the people, you promote and celebrate death. What's the difference? What's the difference with the Democrats that are parading around and celebrating death? How many of them celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk when he got killed? These people are deranged. They don't belong in civil society. They have no spot in civil society. Now, that's not to say that people that have supported the Democrat Party that have fall under Democrat, when you go and register politically, I'm not saying the majority of the population here in this country, but those that are in charge. Now, if you continue to support those people in charge and you call yourself normal, you're now abnormal, because if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results, you know, that what do you anticipate? Why do they keep supporting Debbie Wasserman Schultz? Why do they keep voting her in, knowing that, you know, she's done, you know, she was corrupt, she cheated in the DNC, she was kicked out of her chair position, but yet she's still a sitting congressional representative. And to that point, actually, I just want to put this up real quick, because here's a guy, Michael Carbonera, and I think you guys are all going to really like him. We're working on getting him on the show, FYI. He's running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, have been in contact with his campaign, and we are working on a date to bring him on. This guy comes from fintech, comes from crypto, and comes from business. His objective here, restoring America's freedom and prosperity. And you look at his statement, I believe every hardworking American deserves the freedom, let's underscore that word, to raise a family, grow a business, and live in safety and peace. No, there's not one Democrat that will say that. And if they did, there's something else tied in and connected to it, because they don't believe it. I'll work every day to restore those values in Washington for our kids, our faith, and our future. Now, here's Michael's story, just briefly. He is dedicated to business, family, conservative leader. He is a successful entrepreneur. He has experience in finance and tech. And so it's just really impressive to see kind of where he's coming from. He'll tell his story on the fintech and crypto side when he's with us. But his whole point, he's running for Congress because he believes Florida families deserve better than the failed policies of career politicians like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And she is a career politician that's been her entire existence. She's never done another job in her entire life. It's all been. So that's also the root of many evils that these people have sought careers as not just say, hey, I'm going to work in Washington for the government. No, that's different. These people have gone to elected position to elected position to elected position, never worked a real job in their entire existence, never produced anything, never did anything positive net for the economy. They're career politicians. There's an issue with that. Here he's so Michael committed to fighting inflation, securing our borders, protecting parental rights, and restoring America's standing in the world. Obviously, there's a lot more to talk about here, but bottom line, education, freedom, affordable healthcare, stronger borders, constitutional rights, and American prosperity. So Michael Carbonera, we are going to be bringing him here on the show, and that'll be great. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And Debbie, I still like Rush's term for it, Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz. This is what happens when you don't do anything in life, whether you're a career, somebody who's at some one of these political indoctrination camps known as universities, whether you're a tenured professor, you don't really need to create anything. You've never done anything in the world. Here's a guy who's accomplished, who's also funding part of his campaign, I think, with Bitcoin. This is a guy who's been out there pro crypto. He gets the whole thing, the freedom. I mean, it's a perfect guest for the show because he's basically lockstep the way, what Jeff and I kind of talk a lot about all the time here on the chain. So there's not anything that's really out of sync. So we're excited about having him on there. I think he has a really great chance as long as they get rid of those 100,000 fake voters that are just hanging around on the rolls. Because Broward County is one of the most corrupt counties. It used to be Miami-Dade, but Broward is the most corrupt counties here in Florida. So I hope it changes, but Jeff, there's been a long line of just problems with the voting, and this woman
specifically,
she should have stepped down after all the crap that, we're not gonna retry that here. At some point we'll talk about it when Michael comes on the show. We'll have him tell the story too of the stuff that should have been disqualifying for her, but there's nothing disqualifying. You could probably go out and shoot someone right in the face and be like, there's nothing that would disqualify you from being a candidate. How about misappropriating somebody's culture? Claiming that you're a Native American for your entire life, your whole career was built. A $400,000 job, being a tenured professor, was built on you pretending to be a Native American. And when you get busted on it, you're less than a tenth of 1% of a Native American. You just go like, oh, well, I just thought because my mama, my papa, or poo-poo, whatever the hell, said I had high cheekbones. Well, okay, congratulations. You're a Native American. Just the absurdity of the stuff that comes out on the left is insane.
That's right. So, we need people like this. A lot of people that have good background that are willing to fight. They don't step up because, it's chaos.
It's chaos, man.
And they put, everything on the line, in order. Look what they did with Trump, coming after Trump. So here's a guy who's self-made. Guy went 2 years in community college, realized academic life wasn't for him, and became an entrepreneur. Never looked back, and has done some pretty amazing things, so it'll be really great when we have him on here. We'll have him talk a lot more about the details on that. So very cool.
Yeah, and then just the nonsense. So Letitia James, remember, she was the one who famously went after Trump because he didn't valuate his Mar-a-Lago property. Somehow it was not. First of all, the banks do their own valuations. They brought the bank in. The bank said glowing thing. This whole thing was a political hit job, a political setup. She was in the courtroom smiling. She ran on, let's get Trump. Well, this guy right here, Joel Gilbert, who kind of broke this story open, but Joel Gilbert's going to talk a little bit about sort of like what happened. And they're like, well, they're just going after their political opponents. No, that's the difference, is that when they went after somebody, they made up stuff. This is absolute fraud. They brought the receipts. So I don't care if you have a judge appointed by Obama, by Biden. The stuff is black and white. Did you commit mortgage fraud over 20 years? And then, CNN will play some clips where they'll lead you to believe like, that's okay. Everyone does it. That's kind of their motive, right? They'll just talk away any standpoint, but listen in here. He'll kind of give you some details. And it's pretty scathing, man. And they got the receipts.
James probably should not have been charging Donald Trump with trumped up charges of mortgage fraud in New York, given the fact that New York is a public record state and that all of her mortgages for 43 years were online for myself or anybody else to pull up. And what I found is a pattern of mortgage fraud going all the way back to 1983 when she was only 24 years old. She purchased her first home with her father, claiming that her father was her husband. They purchased it as husband and wife in order to help Letitia qualify for a mortgage that she was not entitled to. Letitia continued this pattern of mortgage fraud with her building in Brooklyn. She bought a 4-story, 5-unit apartment building, and for 24 years, she told the banks it was either 4 units or 1 unit, even though the certificate of occupancy for the building said it was 5 units. Now, this is very significant because if you have 4 units or less, you get a residential mortgage rate, which is lower. You also get almost no closing costs. 5 units or higher, like Letitia had, you get high interest rates and very high closing costs. So Letitia gamed the system in New York. She also didn't register for rent stabilization, which she was supposed to do every year. And she simply had her building is a crime scene. And she defrauded and scammed banks for 24 years to save money she wasn't entitled to. Meanwhile, she bought 3 homes in the state of Virginia, where her mother was from. Every one of those 3 homes, there's mortgage fraud. She buys a foreclosure with her aunt, and then she doesn't appear on the deed, which is illegal. She buys a house at Sterling Avenue in Norfolk, Virginia, and she explicitly says, I bought this for my niece's children to make us think that, oh, she's trying to help little kids. Well, her niece's 2 children are adult convicted felons. One of them is an absconder from justice with an arrest warrant out in North Carolina. So Letitia bought the property specifically to harbor a fugitive. Now, on that property, my colleague Sam Antar pointed out that Letitia claimed that would be her primary residence. It was actually rejected by the bank 9 times. They would not approve the loan. The 10th time, Letitia says, that's going to be my primary residence. It gets approved, and that was illegal because she got the mortgage and lower interest rates because she'd be the primary resident. The indictment by Ms. Halligan yesterday revolves around the 3rd property on Perone Avenue, and on that property, she took out a specialized loan that specifically said Letitia had to either live there or use it as a second residence. She was not allowed to rent it out. Sure enough, Letitia simply rented it out. So that was really the opening shot because that's the smallest, it's bank fraud charges with 30 years in prison for bank fraud. But I believe there's, and my sources tell me there's more indictments coming. This is just the tip of the iceberg because the Sterling property in Virginia, she explicitly got rejected 9 times before she said, okay, it'll be my primary residence. Back in New York, it's a separate grand jury, separate jurisdiction, and it's 24 years of mortgage fraud. The most recent was 2021 with a credit line mortgage from Citizens Bank. She took out a $200,000 credit line loan from Citizens Bank in 2021, well within the statute of limitations, saying that it was a one-family dwelling, 1 family instead of 5.
Hey, Jeff, as you see, like he can't even get through the segment because his time is expiring.
Yeah,
but this guy Joel Gilbert, he's a filmmaker and he's also a journalist. But this is a guy that started looking around, like, I wonder if she's got anything to hide. And it's so deep. It's not just I accidentally wrote something. This is calculated. Misrepresenting. Instead of 5 units, saying 4, so you can get the discount. Buying a house for harboring. Felons. I mean, the whole thing is just but. Jeff, don't worry, because the left will tell you, the Democrats will tell you, it's just retribution. He's just coming after her. Well, sorry, no one is above the law. I remember how many times we heard this. And this is CNN. Now look at CNN. Listen to this.
New York charges residential mortgage fraud, among them one of the most.
Now, this is the same reporter from 2019 and then in 2025. So let's listen to the difference in how this is positioned here.
Serious. So he's looking at 1 to 3 years minimum. 8 to 25 years maximum. These are huge ranges. But those would be inescapable, right? There's nothing a president can do to pardon on a state charge. James is the first Attorney General of New York to be indicted by the Justice Department.
Okay, so like if you're a reporter and you can't get this part right, stop doing what you're doing. Number one, she wasn't indicted by the Justice Department. She was indicted by a grand jury. A grand jury of peers got together and looked at the evidence, and that's where the indictment came from. It did not come from the Department of Justice. And you hear this all over the leftist networks, that the DOJ indicted her. The DOJ was actually kind of taken by surprise. Sure, somebody in that position, but the whole idea was a grand jury, Jeff. They can't even get the simplest of details right.
And it follows a nearly 6-month investigation into claims of mortgage fraud. Now, that is a charge the United States Justice Department rarely brings against individuals, but of course,
well, they didn't, because it wasn't the Justice Department.
James is not an ordinary individual. Trump considers her an enemy after she sued him in 2022, accusing Trump of lying about his real estate empire and the inflating the value of his properties.
You see how they're spinning it, Jeff?
Oh,
it's disgusting. And then here's this very same Democrats. This is on the same exact night this happened. Listen to the contradiction right here. This is funny. Of course, it's Hakeem Jeffries. Who else?
Oh, if it's just like a question of everybody prosecuting the person who prosecuted them, we will be in endless cycles of political and prosecutorial vengeance.
There are so many different corrupt sycophants within the Trump administration, including but not limited to within the Department of Justice. Now, these people don't have immunity. And the reality is the statute of limitations is 5 years, and there will be accountability with the next administration, if not before, when Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives.
You know, if it's just...
You have Raskin saying that, okay, he's saying one thing, saying, oh, yeah, you shouldn't go after political opponents, the wrong thing. Then you have Hakeem Jeffries saying that we absolutely 100% will go after the political opponents. These people are, they're clinically insane, Jeff. There's some kind of mental illness going on.
No.
But, I mean, because even like I was like, well, you know, she's going to get out of it and say, well, I spent the wrong document. Okay, you purchased it with your father, claiming it was your husband. Like, it's so deep, and there's so much malicious stuff going on and calculated. And I was like, when I heard the whole details, I'm like, this is crazy time. Oh, they're just going after a political opponent.
Right, and they would have ignored it if she didn't put herself front and center going after Trump for real estate. Well, if you want to hold him to account, you're going to be held to account. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. And, you know, now they have evidence over evidence of what she did, you know, at all these different properties.
It's a little bit
houses.
Yeah, it's a little bit much, Jeff. It really is. So here's Tim McBride, goes by Sarah McBride. Is a guy pretending to be a woman. Doesn't do a very good job at it, but here they're calling my real name because Sarah McBride is the official title in Congress. But here he is on with Fake Tapper.
In this position because Republicans have refused to come to the table to work with us over the last several
The reason we're snickering is because someone drew a mustache and put a sombrero on her.
months, and because of their refusal to collaborate with us, put on their big boy pants.
Someone used AI to have Jake start playing a trumpet. Too much.
For the last several months, and because of their refusal to collaborate with us, put on their big boy pants and negotiate, thousands of my constituents are receiving furloughs who work for the federal government, and thousands more are receiving letters notifying them of skyrocketing.
Thank God he does stuff like this, because otherwise these segments are unwatchable, Jeff. You can't even you can't get into something like that. It's not. You can't even take them serious, right? I mean, it's too much to just even think about. Yeah, it's and I wanted to play this next one because Michael Rappaport can be I'm trying to think of the word. He can be a divisive figure. I mean, he used to be firebrand for sure. He used to be so anti-Trump. He used to call him. I can't even mention what he used to call him. Yeah, but a lot of things changed, especially start seeing how loony the left was. But he drives home a point. So, because I thought the same thing, Jeff. Right. An agreement is struck. Free Palestine. Palestine's going to have a chance here, right? You brought peace, conditionally agreed upon by Hamas, and he's driving some good points home because I thought the same thing. It's going to be a little bit rough, guys. I'm just going to tell you there's going to be some language, but he brings it home as only Michael Rappaport can. So Rappaport can. Here we go.
Fire, cease. It's a fuck. It started. Where are you motherfuckers at? Is it not cool? Is that not what the cool kids are doing? You've been saying for 2 years, cease fire now. You got to cease fire right now. It's happening right now. The hostages are being released. I know you don't give a fuck about that. Maybe it's it's not the ceasefire. It's occupation. Oh, well, but they're not occupying Gaza. It's the occupation of the West Bank or Judea Samaria, the Zionists. Yo, there's a ceasefire right now. Breathe, motherfuckers. Be happy. Be elated. I'm happy. I'm elated. I cannot wait. All fucking regular, normal people, any single normal, regular person is excited and happy. Baruch Hashem, that these hostages, Baruch Hashem, are going to make it home in the next few days. And there's no war. There's no explosions, no bombings, no IDF soldiers, no innocent civilians of Gaza and actual innocent civilians of Gaza being hurt and scared, and you got nothing to say now, motherfuckers? Maybe I'm just dumb. I believed you motherfuckers when you were saying cease fire. But maybe I'm a fucking sucker. I'm the dumbass for believing that you motherfuckers actually wanted that shit. You didn't want that shit.
Why aren't they celebrating? Why aren't they celebrating, Jeff?
They didn't want that shit. All they cared about, think about for a long time, the whole, Palestinian movement became irrelevant. In the first, term with Trump, they had the Abraham Accords and the Middle East was coming together. They said first time there's going to be peace and all this. Then after that, we started to see when Biden came in, we started to see a change of tonality. Obviously, they saw how all the terrorist entities around the world started taking advantage. They let all the countries get flooded with all these with terrorists essentially, and all and just obviously we've seen the toppling, and we're seeing the fall of Western civilization, Europe in particular. But the loudest voices now that are coming out, they don't care about the Gazans, they don't care about the Palestinians. What they do hate, very much is Western ideology, and they're using the Palestinian cause to destroy Israel. That's like their ultimate objective. They want to destroy Israel. They don't care about any of the people. They don't care about the Israelis. They don't care about the Arabs, the Palestinians. It doesn't factor into their discourse. The crazy thing is, under Biden, when you saw the women movements, and we've seen it little by little, but you saw the terrorists marching with them, and all of a sudden the Palestinian cause became something within the women movement, and we saw them taking advantage of the left. And the left, they're stupid. They're not smart people to begin with, and they'll latch on to anything without researching, without understanding it, without the history behind it. They don't care. They don't want to know. They don't go one extra second to try to educate themselves, even though they have the most amazing tool in their pocket, which is this phone. They can look at any type of information at any point, look it up, research it. They're just not smart. And so, like Art said, they're useful idiots. And it's amazing because there's videos out there, even, Russian, on the Russian side, when they were looking at how they could potentially manipulate. There's, some others that are, from the Middle East are saying, what if we were here, what's the first group you'd go to? Well, the Democrats, of course. So they'll go to the left because they're a bunch of useful idiots. And they're so easily brought on board to these ideas. And we see it over in Europe right now. How is it that the leftists are embracing this notion that they can just bring unhindered, just bring all these people in, and they use specific terminology to try to minimize the impact. Like they want to call them refugees. They're not refugees, they're invaders. If they're refugees, what are they fleeing from exactly? What are they fleeing from? And then if they're fleeing from barbaric treatment, how come that there's no mass migration of Christians from Nigeria right now? What about from the Sudan? Right, Chip? What's going on with all this?
I have the idea why they're fleeing. They're fleeing from a collapsed and destroyed culture. So they can go destroy and collapse another culture. And they're not even fleeing.
They're coming over purposefully. And what we're seeing throughout the area, they make them look like they're crazy people, or they always use this lone wolf concept. Lone wolf doesn't exist. there's no such thing as the lone wolf, especially within this group, because they've been indoctrinated. They're getting their marching orders. They might go and do it by themselves at that moment, but they're no lone wolf. And so what we're seeing, there was some video of a guy over in Europe. Well, we just saw a couple of churches get burned down. Didn't just happen by happen chance. We know that they're behind it. We see the invasion. We see what they're doing. We see how they're treating the populations within these European countries. And there's one guy in Italy, and he was trying to light the gas line outside of a building on fire. Now, they're doing this on purpose, specifically to undermine civil society, which is why they're dumping garbage everywhere. There was another one there. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever been over to India, but when you go to India, it's most of it, there's an interesting smell there, but beyond that, it's you could be driving down the street and there'll be somebody right over there on a tree, peeing on the tree. There'll be someone, taking a dump in the sewer grate of the street where the water goes up, or over to the side or down an alley, just like open season. So now we're seeing that same mentality over in some of the Western culture, because these people, they don't know any different. They mass migrate them. There's no chance of assimilation. There's no one helping them assimilate to modern civilization. They're coming from their culture. They think it's okay to do what they do for whatever reason. And this is what is being brought in on purpose. Again, it's to undermine from inside, undermine civil society. And this stuff has to change. We can't allow this to continue, but it's the left that's allowed it.
Always.
Unfortunately.
Jeff, we always hear this term of racism being thrown around, but why is it the predominantly white culture, cultures like, Europe, you have the US, US is pretty much a mixing pot, but why is it that these are the countries that have to so-called, diversify? Why is diversify? Why should you have France diversify? French should preserve their own culture. Why should the UK, why should any of these countries diversify? They don't need to diversify. Why would they want to lose their language, culture, borders? You lose language, culture, borders, you don't have a country anymore. This is what's being eroded everywhere, right? You see it even happening in Canada. Canada is like, Canada's on the verge. I don't know if people realize how Canada is. Everyone's pretending like everything's okay. It's not okay. These digital IDs are going to transform and change pretty much everything. I was really happy to hear in Ireland, this was kind of big. I was surprised to hear this from Ireland, but this is a great step in the right direction. Let's check this out.
Is it your intention to reintroduce the hate speech legislation that was a dramatic failure in the last government and proposed by the previous Minister for Justice?
The answer is no, but can I just give you an overview as to why the answer is no? I'm fairly satisfied that Ireland has transposed the European Council framework decision on combating certain forms and expressions of racism and xenophobia in a manner appropriate and tailored to the domestic system of law in Ireland. I want to assure members of the House that Ireland's position has been communicated to the European Commission, and our position is that the framework decision is fully transposed in Irish legislation in a manner that is appropriate and tailored to Ireland's domestic system of criminal law and procedure, and is in line, of course, with Article 40.6 of the Constitution, which expressly respects and protects the rights to freedom of expression and people to express their views freely.
I think that's a pretty telling right there. They've just basically rejected the European Council on this, again, more trying to control and censorship and all this other stuff, being able to use this hate speech. Charlie Kirk famously said in a post where, as much as we might hate the crazy things people say, it's all protected in the U.S. under the First Amendment. Whether you like it or not, this whole idea of hate speech was coined by the left. There is no hate speech. And if you have freedom of speech, it's freedom of speech. If you say something disparaging to somebody else, stop listening to them. Don't give them any attention. That's how you combat it. But to start choosing winners and losers, and I like that this is a bold move that Ireland stood up and said, no, we're not going to take on your European Council. It's not welcome here. And it's good that you saw a country like Ireland go ahead and stand up and do this, because I think you're going to see a lot more fallout. People are going to reject this as the time goes on. Here's Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni And she's taken some bold steps too in Italy. We talk about preserving, your culture. Look at this, because, the whole idea of what's happening with Sharia law and Islam, the extreme Islamists, is not compatible with life in Italy.
Meloni, Italian Prime Minister, proposes burqa and niqab ban with fines of €2,600 to stop Islamic separatism. The bill would see those wearing the garment in shops, offices, schools, and universities fined €2,600. It will also introduce criminal penalties for cultural crimes, including virginity testing, and increase punishments for forced marriages to up to 10 years in prison, with religious coercion grounds for prosecution. The bill will combat religious radicalization and religiously motivated hate, the party claims. The bill will also pile extra scrutiny on funding for mosques and Islamic education institutions by imposing transparency rules on the financing of organizations who have not reached formal agreements with the state. No Muslim organization has such an agreement, and thus they will be forced to disclose all sources of funding. Austria, France, Denmark, Belgium, and the Netherlands have since followed suit and introduced some form of the ban. Meanwhile, in the US, there is still no ban on wearing such clothing. So what do you think? Should the US ban the burqa and niqab too?
That's Jeff.
So anything that covers the face needs to be banned. Shouldn't be allowed. Now, the crazy thing.
What about religious freedom, though, Jeff?
Right, they do it under the guise of religious freedom. However, think about from how they subjugate their women, right? But the left is very outspoken about that part. At least they used to be, about they wanted to speak out about subjugating women, and women have to be equal and all of this. How come they're not fighting for them? They want to claim that they're fighting for religious freedom, but you're going to tell me that all these women are okay with covering themselves up head to toe so you can only see their eyes? Now, you want to wear a headscarf, I don't care. That doesn't infringe on anything. You walk around where you can only see the eyes. No, I don't like people wearing masks. The whole point, even during the COVID, when people wore the mask because they thought it actually helped them, it was actually doing something, which it didn't. Even then, I didn't like the fact people wore masks. I didn't want to wear it. I didn't want to see anybody else wearing it. Today, if you wear a mask, you shouldn't be allowed to walk around in public with a mask covering your face. You need to be able to identify. You need to be able to see. I don't want people walking around me like that. Definitely don't want people walking around where you can only see their eyes. Are you covering up abuse? What are you doing? Why are you hiding? The other point, and someone succinctly stated that even over, if you go into some of the more stricter, Arab countries, as they go into government buildings or ID or, banking, whatever it is, where they need to visually see their face, they're required to take that whole, they take everything off so you can see the face. Over in this country and in Europe, they're like, no, that's their religious freedom. Okay, it's no longer freedom if you're bringing someone in to a courthouse, if they're coming to a government institution, if you're coming someplace where you have to be identified. How do you identify somebody when they're walking around covered head to toe? You want to practice your religion. We have freedom of religion. But again, to that point, go practice your religion. Don't infringe on anybody else's right. Don't play your over the loudspeakers like in Dearborn, Michigan right now, where they have the call for prayer 5 times a day. No call for prayer. That shouldn't be allowed. Now you're infringing on everybody else's right. You have your freedom until you infringe on my freedom. Now you're infringing on my freedom. That doesn't that's not allowed. Freedom of speech goes all the way up to the point of incitement to riot or incitement to cause harm. You start inciting to cause harm or inciting to riot, your freedom of speech is gone. You don't have the freedom to incite violence or incite harm or riot. Same thing with that. You have your freedom of religion in your building. You don't have the right to infringe on my freedom. And, if it's visual, that's, you want to, put up religious symbols. Okay. But as soon as you start doing it over a loudspeaker like that, and then at the same point in those same towns, they're going to infringe on the church to have a church bell. So why can't the church have a church bell on Sunday? Why can't they ring their church bell? Why can't they do that? Well, there's sound ordinance and there's all these other, ordinance that come into play. Yet they're okay to have, they're okay to have the call for prayer 5 times a day.
Yeah, well,
It's
Jeff,
crazy.
this something Chad's bringing up. The Burqa requirement violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. Yeah, because if you classify it as a religion, but can you classify anything as a religion that tells people to kill people that don't believe as you do? So I've always had this thing where, is it an actual religion or is it sort of an ideology? Because most of the major religions in the world do not condone killing. They do condone, sleeping with someone who's 9 years old. They do not, right? There's all these like sort of unsaid requirements, and although you're correct, but if you think about the Establishment Clause, First Amendment, it also prohibits government-sponsored religion. So in Dearborn, basically the city council, that local government has endorsed basically the call to prayer, and that's a violation really of the establishment call, because you can't have, Congress can't impose any sort of restraints, and you can't have government sponsoring any kind of religion. This is exactly what happened. Is you had the local council has basically endorsed it and said that that's okay. So you've got a violation of the Establishment Clause, and the Establishment Clause is set up to, when you talk about the whole idea of religion, if it's a religion, that's why I always question, is it a religion? Should anything be classified as a religion that basically goes against the basic tenets, which is most of a religion is peace abiding. It does not tell you to go kill people that don't believe as you do. It doesn't happen in Judaism. It doesn't happen in Christianity. It doesn't happen in Buddhism. You name it, it just does. It's not there. Everything is all about, they have different philosophies, but you're not out there basically maiming or killing other people. You convert or we kill you. Sorry, I don't know if that classifies a religion. It might fall under something else, but I wonder if that is definitely there. Crypto Wealth does say, Jeff, a mouth mask does help if you have hay fever. No offense intended.
It might help the individual from the whatever's floating around in the air, because the particle of what's floating in the air, block it. But the face mask itself, from any other purpose, doesn't help when you're talking about a
Jim
virus.
D says, also no horn honking on the way to work too. That's a good point. We definitely want to.
I don't know about. Sometimes I like the horn though. Sometimes it's necessary.
Snapdragon says because they're all Arabic on the board. Yeah, that's exactly right. But doesn't matter what doesn't matter what your background is. You can't defy federal law, right? You can't undo what federal law states. You can't have somebody endorse something 5 a.m. a call to prayer. Sorry, man. This is, and it's surprising to me nobody's taken it up to a Supreme Court type of level. But it's, what are you going to do? This
it'll go there. It'll end up there.
Oh, I think it will be.
It'll go to court. People aren't going to allow it to continue.
We talk about this digital ID that we're starting to see the dust up happen in the UK. We're starting to hear about it in Canada, in France. Funny enough, in Germany. But here we are. Let's take a look at a case where they've had this digital ID, these social scores in China. And this is a shocking story too. Look at this.
Broke, they got deleted. In China, tens of thousands of young people are suddenly homeless, not because of money, but because the system erased them.
Imagine a society where everything you do, everything you say, and everything you buy is controlled and evaluated by the authorities. This is what the Chinese Communist Party calls social credit.
By using the mechanism of social credit, we'll be able to establish a blacklist of people and create a system of punishment that will be based on a scientific theory. These punishments will serve as a whip to rebuild moral values. Our society needs it.
The country's social credit system decides who's trustworthy. But if you're blacklisted, it's game over. Your WeChat Pay stops working, you can't receive your salary, can't buy food, can't even book a train ticket. It's like being alive, but digitally. Many are now sleeping in the streets, cut off from everything. Jobs, housing, even communication. All because one app, one algorithm decided they don't belong.
It's not science fiction. In China, it's a reality. Then there's the public shaming. Photo galleries of blacklisted citizens. There's even an app that shows who around you is in debt.
They're not criminals. They didn't steal, cheat, or harm anyone. They just fell too low on a score and vanished from the digital world. Critics say it's a glimpse into the future, where technology doesn't just track your life, it controls it. So ask yourself, if your entire life depended on your digital reputation, how long before you get deleted?
pretty sad because that's what's coming. People laugh at it, like, well, that's not going to happen. It wouldn't happen here. Well, it's happening multiple places. And the fact is, you got people in their early 20s.
How long
they
before
said
you get
something, they did something. They again, it's not about cheating or stealing, what they're really bad, but it was about speech. They said something, their social score dropped, and then they lost their jobs. And so this isn't a sustainable practice, by the way. How many people are going to be homeless? And people always think, well, China is great. We see these vast cities. Well, that's the top 10% that live in those cities. There's no go zone. So if you don't have the right social score, you can't even travel to a city. You're one of the poverty stricken, the 80% that doesn't live in these nice cities, that lives in the poverty, impoverished, and can't basically break out of that. It's a class system. You're not breaking out of that. You come to the United States, come to Europe, you have a chance to excel and better yourself, not in China. If you're born into a family that's your fate, chances are it's going to be your fate. Sure, we hear stories of here and there where people have broken out of that. Yes, I mean, we have heard these stories, but it's the exception, not necessarily the rule. So Jim D says the flip side, the universal basic income will be mandatory community service, like spying on your neighbors. Right. Well, we saw this happen during COVID. Remember, if you tattletailed on your neighbors, rat them out. I mean, if they're doing something wrong, rat them out. It's right there, Black Mirror episode coming to your neighborhood.
They seem to like that.
Seems to be, I mean,
crazy.
it's gotten to be, Jeff, so out of control, so out of hand. I'm really just shocked anymore. Like, everything is so crazy. Like, you thought you saw a nutty story and you see a nuttier story. You thought you saw a crazy story, there's even another one. So you've got the conflict between winning and the contrast between winning and then the Dems just doubling down on stupid. Trump posted this on his Truth Social. I actually saw the video before this, but check this out. This guy totally hammers home a solid point.
Black people in Chicago, let's get this clear for the record so nobody is confused, right? In 2020 and 2021, when Democrats, specifically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, flooded Chicago with the illegal, undocumented criminal invaders, y'all didn't have nothing to say about that, right? When the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, gave them benefits, millions, prepaid EBT cards with $10,000 on it, prepaid Visa cards, 6 months worth of free rent, free healthcare, free childcare. Y'all were okay with that.
Yep.
And then you all continue to be okay with it by going out and voting for Kamala Harris to continue what she was doing with the open borders, right? Now that ICE is there to actually do something about it, right? With Trump's mandate, now you all are boohoo, whining and crying, complaining that ICE is coming to black neighborhoods. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Where else are they supposed to go when that's where y'all allowed them to go? You see, Democrats didn't put these illegals in Oak Brook or Oak Park or Evanston, in any of the white neighborhoods, yet you got the white liberals downtown protesting to keep those people there because they know that they're in black neighborhoods. And y'all goofy. Y'all falling for this. Y'all voted for Kamala Harris, and now y'all are protesting ICE coming to black neighborhoods to remove these criminal invaders. Y'all are calling ICE racist for coming to the black neighborhoods. Well, why are they coming to the black neighborhoods? Because that's where you all allowed them to go. So tell me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave without telling me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave.
It's a very strong point, Jeff. A very strong point, and I love that Trump will repost something like that. You know, you can't use any logic or reason. Absolutely, did they put him in any of the upscale neighborhoods where most of the white people live? No, Jeff. No. So now they're coming into the black neighborhoods. Yeah, to get the invaders out. These people are criminals. Now the new narrative I see on the left, Jeff, is that they're mad because they're saying, hey, Donald Trump said he would get the criminals out. Now he's deporting just illegals. Yeah, that's illegal. When you come in, when you break the law, it's the whole point. But now they're saying like he was going to just get the criminals. Well, they all broke the law. So yeah, they got the hardened criminals out first, the biggest offenders, the people that they emptied jails, you know, the MS-13s, all those out first. But yeah, it's not just like, you know, it's not just like one thing, Jeff. This is the part that just absolutely, you know, almost floors me almost every single way that these guys here's Don Lemon, who used to be on CNN. He's trying to do a YouTube channel. He does these man in the street interviews, and I saw 3 of them back to back. He might want to stop doing it because people don't agree with him. he thinks he's going to get, people agreeing with him, and they don't. But here's Don Lemon saying it's okay to break into the country illegally.
Crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
So
it's not. So this is what they want you to believe.
Misdemeanor.
So he's just breaking into the country is not a crime. Oh, it's a misdemeanor.
Make anything up.
Listen to this shit.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that
we don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no
Do you see what's going on? The rationalization here, this gaslighting is epic, Jeff.
Due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals. And
the criminals broke the law and entered illegally.
Now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going.
Misdemeanor is not a crime.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not
it's
a
not
crime?
a criminal act. No, if you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal
why
act.
get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
This is great. She totally takes him apart. Totally takes his ass apart. Hands him his ass. He doesn't know what to say. So why do they get charged at all? Different levels of crime. So it is a crime.
If it's not a criminal act.
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we
different
have different levels of. No, I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So it's breaking the law.
No, you're not breaking the law.
A misdemeanor is not breaking the law.
No.
If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
That's not a criminal act. Well, no, if you're speeding is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor. Right. So it's still breaking the law.
Okay, well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm saying, but what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it a law to come over legally? Is there a law?
There are rules processes that you should follow. Yeah, so you're breaking rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law.
This is why you will never get anywhere at the left.
So,
they will reason. They will make excuses. This guy can't even. He's and the two random people on the street. Is there a law? Well, there's rules. No, is there a law? There is a law. It's a federal law. What were you gonna say, Jeff?
So I was gonna say, improper entry into the country means you're coming in, you're entering or attempting to enter, and you do enter without authorization is a criminal offense, and you will get a criminal record. And the first offense is a misdemeanor, second offense is a felony. So they have specific, jurisdictions on it. Re-entry after removal, once they get removed from the country, there's different sentencing possibilities depending on prior criminal history and things like that. They can be sentenced for up to 20 years. Now, just the unlawful presence in the country, meaning they overstayed a visa, right? So, or they violated the terms of a lawful entry. It could be a civil violation, typically through, be a civil course, and they can ban them from re-entering the country, and typically they deport them. They get deported. So depending on how they did. Now, if they illegally entered into the country, that's more of a criminal offense, and there's different levels to that criminal offense to start with. So that's what he's saying. It was a misdemeanor, so it could be 6 months in prison. It could be a fine, but then they get deported. That's the whole point. You get a fine, they deport them. They don't just let them stay. You're here illegally, you're gone. It's very very straightforward. And that's at this point what the whole point is. Done. Out. You're here illegally, you leave. I don't understand what the Democrats, again, what they're trying to do. They're trying to manipulate the terminology that we use, which is what they always do. And they want to make it such that it sounds that the way we're saying it is wrong, the way they're saying it is right. So they want to say that a misdemeanor is no longer a crime. It's not a crime. That's why they're allowing theft. They allow people to break into stores and steal merchandise because they say, it's $1,000 worth of merchandise. And then they say, well, even if they go over 1,000, we're going to let, now that when they're rioting in the streets, when they attempted an insurrection, there was a real insurrection that occurred in this country and is occurring again when we see what's going on over in Portland, how Portland is utilizing the police. And as soon as they try to stop blocking the federal government from doing what it's supposed to do, especially when they're trying to get the illegal immigrants out of the country and they're blocking it and they're allowing the criminals to fester in their cities and take over city blocks like what's happening over in Portland. What else do you call that? What exactly is happening when you allow chaos to reign and you no longer take care of the duties and responsibilities that you have to uphold the laws of the country and uphold the laws of your state and your city and make sure that you're protecting the citizenry? If you don't do that, then what? Right. And this is to this point, and this is what Don Lemon is part of, this corrupted group, which they want to try to undermine and keep allowing these illegals to flood in. Yeah, and then they sprinkle them around. And again, look where they're putting them, like in the previous video. Well, we also saw them put them up in 5-star hotels, and they destroyed the 5-star hotels.
And then they argued, no, they weren't 5-star hotels. They're only. Then they said they were only 3-star hotels. Right. Like they were just obviously like, when it's about semantics, they're like, oh no, they were only 3-star hotels. They weren't 5. Who gives a shit? The whole point is like, giving them the money. Yeah. By the way, Jeff, look who's popped in here. Oh, buddy, Alex, Coining 203 popped in here. This is a good solution right here. This is a good solution right here. The quick and easy solution to mass immigration is just to pay them to go south Mexico, get their checks distributed. Well, I think they've only deported 400,000, but over 1 million were self-deported. They did pay them to go and stay out of the country. But I like your idea of paying them for weeks to keep them out of the country. But at some point, they could probably come back. But the whole idea was the ones self-deported, they're like, look, I can either get deported, end up back home. It's coming at some point, but they did pay. I forgot how much the money was, but they did pay. Crypto Whelp says, I'm convinced that people should be able to go wherever they want. There should be no borders. Animals aren't bound to borders. So why do people? Because they're animals and we're people and humans, and we have language, culture, and borders, and we have the whole idea of culture the same way. If you go to Belgium, you have your culture, you have... you speak 2 languages there. You said you go to France. If you go to, because of the whole idea of preserving a country, there's a thought behind it, right? In the United States, we have something where we live in a constitution. Republic means we're bound by the Constitution, and a republic. People with democracy. We're not a democracy. No, it's not. It's not the majority rules. It protects the voices of the smaller, the lesser voices, and the whole idea. And I said this again. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today, and I was saying that I'm surprised 249 years where the people wrote a document that got ratified through Congress that said that we are going to limit the power of what the government can do. There's not one country in 249 years that says, maybe we should take this on. No, they love their parliamentary system where prime ministers are not voted on by the people. They've got to put a government together. So you're going to let the people who are screwing you figure out how to screw you harder. And there's not going to be any limitation on what government can do. The reason you see all this crazy shit going on everywhere, like in the UK, the whole free speech. Oh, you put a meme up? Oh, you're going to prison for 3 years. Oh, wait a minute. The guy who actually assaulted a 16-year-old girl, the 3 guys that protested got longer, 3-year jail terms, longer than the guy that actually assaulted the teenager. This is the kind of nonsense that goes on. The reason is you don't have a constitution that protects free speech. They say, oh, we believe in it. Well, you don't believe in it. And you don't have anything that limits the power of the actual government. So that's why, and I think you're probably saying that a little bit in jest. I don't know if you're 100% accurate there. So, but maybe animals have no borders. So does that mean we should let you live with bears, tigers, lions, run around your neighborhood? So there's always that bit of it's.
That'd be awesome.
What,
be very
Jeff?
cool.
I always love when somebody twists it on people, but check out this man in the street interview here. And it just goes to show you that there is no rational thought. There is no logical thought. There is nothing that exists on the left.
Has deported 3.1 million illegal immigrants. What is your take on that?
I think that the world deserves answers, and I think that it's deplorable that the U.S. president is doing that to his own citizens currently.
So what if I told you that actually President Obama deported 3.1 million illegal immigrants and Trump only deported 400,000 so far?
I think...
All right, a rational question, right?
Great.
that it's a different situation because you're not deporting parents of small children and leaving the children in this country. You're not sending them to concentration camps and alligator Alcatraz and all of that. It's a totally different, inhumane situation.
They just
Obama
use
did send
talking
people
points.
to ICE facilities. He used ICE to arrest people and deport them. They were ICE deportations. I mean, it was more or less the same exact process when he did it to 3 million people.
Yes, but it was just a different situation, and it's not being publicized in the same way.
It was a Democrat who did it. No one cared.
And made to make people look like criminals and look inhumane.
Where did you learn that the Trump administration was mistreating people? How do you know that?
Because of every single news source that's out there.
Yeah, see, here we go. Gaslighting. Oh, yeah, just name one side. Just one. We don't need all the sources.
What kind of news do you watch? Like what's your go-to
never
news
watched
source?
I watch a lot of NPR, NBC, ABC News, things like that.
Do you ever watch Fox?
I do not watch Fox.
Okay.
No.
You got to tune in for both sides, I think. At least see what the other side's saying.
No, the funny thing is we know what
and
the other
she's
side's
watching
saying.
the worst of the worst. Right, exactly. Hey, it's about that time. It's 10:05. We're on for an hour 40.
Holy cow, we really been crushing it today.
I know.
Go ahead. I just want to play this one last clip. Now, I'm not the one that's going to come out and defend Taylor Swift, Jeff. I wouldn't necessarily defend Taylor Swift. But in this case, I have to, okay? I was like, I have to come out there. I have to come out. But listen to this. She put out a new album, and people are trying to cancel her. The Swifties, they call them. And this, I don't know. I don't even know where to go with this. This is crazy. Listen.
And roll the clips. Is Taylor Swift using her music to red pill you? In short,
no.
Yes.
I have subjected myself to listening to Taylor Swift's new album, and the song Wishlist, yeah, that's trad wife propaganda.
You want the whole neighborhood looking like you, like Travis?
They're focusing on one song called Wishlist, where she talks about her life and her dreams with Travis. I want to read you the lyrics that have all of these people so triggered. I just want you. Have a couple of kids, got the whole block looking like you. We tell the world to leave us the F alone, and they do. Wow. And not only is this entire song and album trad wife propaganda, it is also racist. This person says, wait, am I too woke? Yes. But why did this line feel like a dog whistle for a completely white suburban neighborhood and like low-key white supremacy coded? It is not white supremacy coded. She is saying, I love this man who happens to be white, and therefore I want to have his children. I want to have many of his children, and therefore have an entire neighborhood of little Travis Kelce's. That is not white supremacy. That is being in love with a white man, which is not a crime. Liberal women.
Oh, I have to defend it because that's just absolutely the most insane, crazy stuff. And at some point, they will find this is how crazy they are. They'll find stuff to even like she said nothing wrong. It's like, oh my God, she's a white supremacist. All this crazy stuff, Jeff. I don't even know at this at some point.
Look at that.
Radimus Maximus.
Look at that fresh coffee.
Dude, I know. I went and did a bio break and got some fresh badass coffee when I was a badassery. So I had to get some more coffee too. I had to do another pour because I was like, I'm just craving
mine
some more
was
coffee.
just delivered.
Well, good for you.
Mine was just delivered.
I delivered my own.
Poured. Look at that.
Well, your mouth isn't matching your words, so that's your problem.
Amazing.
So then I have unless they're offended. And they're always miserable on the left. They're always miserable on the left. Every single time, miserable. Guys, let's type in Yeti. We got 15 in there. Not bad, but we can do better. I want to make sure that you guys can type it in because we're going to listen. Roll the song, and then we're going to go ahead and do the drawing. So type in Yeti. That's true. The West is dying, correct?
Y-E-T-I.
Right.
Y-E-T-I.
That is true.
That's right. Plus that COVID injection killed fertility.
There's another problem too. Well, it made it complicated, but you also have in Italy has a real big problem with that because most of the men live with their mothers and they don't get married, they don't propagate. So it's like, well, let's go ahead and roll that clip. Roll the Yeti, badass banger we got here.
Propagate. Did you just say they don't propagate?
That's what I said. Gotta propagate. You like that?
All right.
Let's go.
A badass Yeti from the Blue Tribe. The Mentalists rise. Your key. The Zaman wallet. Your fate on the chain. And Mindbreaker of the Frost. mentalists. No blade, no voice, no mercy. Thoughts twist like lightning in the storm. Enemies collapse before they see him move. He walks the silence, unseen, unknown. He bends will, shatters courage, turns warriors into stone. In the frozen void, only his mind remains. Fear the mind! Fear the storm. Ormvold speaks in silence. He kills in thought. Ormvold, the mind breaker of the blue tribe. No weapon forged can match his power. No war can stop his reach. He is the whisper that breaks your soul. He is the calm before the storm. Badass yet is born for battle, made for legend. Claim yours or be forgotten. Badass yet is on the chain. Is on the chain.
Oh, that is a banger.
Oh,
Wowza, man. All right, let's go ahead, guys. Go put that song on. Let's go ahead. We're going to do the drawing. We got 18 in here. 18 in the
drawing. Before we do the drawing, I think we have to. Well, let's do the drawing and then we can play the video. Brought to you by Badassery Coffee.
There we go. Let's update that too. Here we go, guys. Put the badass Yeti in the background there. A little badass Yeti. Let's change that. Update that too. Okay, you're not going to put it on there. We'll then have to just roll it.
Oh, I meant to put it on.
Badass Yetis.
$5 for a latte. Half of that feeds some hipster's avocado toast habit paired with an oat milk manifesto. Quit financing coffee fads you don't need. It's time to rebel. Your badass great-grandpa had only one tin cup and brewed his coffee over an open fire. We roast to order, ship free, and keep every bean bold enough to wake the dead, or at least your 9 a.m. meeting. We make coffee that punches Mondays in the face. Badassery Coffee. Fresh, fierce, fucking great. Roasted fresh, shipped free. Chaos pending. Order now at badasserycoffee.com. badasserycoffee.com.
Brought to you by Badassery Coffee, guys. Let's go ahead.
Great.
Let's do the.
And by the way, it's 10-11, 10-11. Now it's 10-12, 10-11.
All right, let's do this, guys. Let's see who's going to win here. Get your Zaman wallet ready, or your Joey wallet, whatever you have. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. Who's going to be?
Joey.
Click, 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 click. Boom. Kane. Oh, Chad. I'm sorry. Whoa, Chad. Chad is the big winner. He's going to yell it's rigged. I know it. Chad, man, I always get you with that first one. Cost was close, but
nauseum.
You see, he told it was rigged. You won. Okay, we're gonna do it again. He said it was rigged, so we gotta do somebody else. You ready? Let's go, baby. Rigged. Oh, he forwarded the Snapdragon. He said forwarded the Snapdragon. Is Snapdragon here? Is Snapdragon here? I don't know if Snapdragon's here.
That is the question.
Yeah, we might have to do somebody else. I don't know.
Snapdragon's here.
What about Snapdragon?
Snapdragon's not here.
Uh-oh.
Kane almost had it. Then, boom, gone.
Well, Kane, if you want to do this, because he is here, and I thought it landed on him, but damn, it just did that little hiccup and then gone. So, Chad, you got to pick somebody new or take it yourself. Because
let me see if Snapdragon is in the studio. Nobody sees Snapdragon.
No, Snapdragon. What about Kotz? Is Kotz here? He said, okay, give it to Kotz. Kotz. Another OG in the space. Kotz, are you here? We know you're here. So go ahead and say, I'm here. I'm getting my Zaman wallet. Oh, Snapdragon now says he's here. Damn it. I hate when that happens. This guy's got to be quick. So Snapdragon is here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you were speaking.
Snapdragon is here. There you go.
The problem is we have that delay. All right. Sorry about that, Cos, but Snapdragon is here. We didn't know. Now look at this. We got a dilemma. Now Kane's saying he's here. Damn. But
Snapdragon's here. Snapdragon. Right. So what we need is a Zaman wallet address.
Zaman wallet. Yeah. Sorry about that, Kane. But he was here. The problem is there's a delay. There's like sometimes a 20 to 30 second delay. So as we're like saying it, by the time someone hears it and they come in and we got you. We got you, Snapdragon. We got you, man.
Whatever you want.
Congrats, Snap.
Snapdragon was first, but Snapdragon said, that's okay. You can give it to whoever.
Well, jeez, I hate when this happens.
You got to give us
something nice and give it away, but
now everyone's saying, never mind. Give it to him. Snapdragon, if you have a Zaman wallet, then
yeah, go ahead and take it, man. Sometimes there is a delay here, and that's just unfortunate. It's just the way it works.
Okay. Oh, Snapdragon's working. All right, Snapdragon, we're going to give it to Kane. Appreciate that. So Kane, here you go. Putting your Zaman wallet address in here.
Going to Kane said, never mind, give it to him. So everybody's...
right well, we're moving it to Kane. Here we go.
Kane, you better jump in there, my man. Jump in. It's cool.
I already got his Zaman wallet. Uh-oh. Zaman wallet's updating.
Should give him both one there.
When that happens.
I hate the controversy.
We should. If Snapdragon give us a Zaman wallet.
Give us your wallet. We'll get you one too. I don't like this. Sometimes there's a delay here, and it's not fair to everybody.
Get him one from
Snap, we'll give you a different one, but go ahead, Snap, and give us your Zaman wallet too. It is a biggie, man. We take it very serious around here.
That's it. Kane, check your Zaman.
Yeah, Snapdragon, go ahead and give us we got probably a white tribe we can give away. Let's do a white tribe member. Let's give him a cool white tribe. But go ahead, Snap, drop your Zaman wallet here. We'll get you one as well. There will be nobody left behind here on the chain, baby.
I don't see any addresses. I don't see any either. I got Kane's address, so I already put Kane's in there.
Yeah, Kane's we have. We just need to... Yeah, okay, cool, man. What we need next is we're going to need... Snap, go ahead and drop your Zaman wallet in there as well so that we can get you a white tribe.
We need your X handle, too, Kane.
Yeah, Kane, what is your X handle? Your X handle. X.
Oops. Shoot. Badass yet is. Why is this messing up here? Nope. Everything's going haywire today. Today's 10-11. My favorite two numbers.
Shit, I have to turn it off. At some point, it starts driving me crazy.
Badass yet is. Badass yet is.
While you're doing that, I'm going to put Trump on there.
He doesn't have it right now. All right, no Snapdragon.
No worries. Okay, good. We were trying to do the right thing here, but that's good. We're all good. Let's just watch this one last thing from Trump handling a reporter.
We don't have Kane's. He's not on X. Forget about it. No X.
Here we go. This is Trump handling a reporter.
Because you've said that you restored free speech in America. Yeah. Is that free speech including for people who are harshly critical of you, for your political opponents, for people who say things you don't like?
I've become immune to it.
You unfairly?
I've become immune to it. There's never been a person that's had more unfair publicity than me, and that's why your network paid me $15 million, or $16 million, I believe, to be exact, George Slopadopoulos, and that's why CBS paid me a lot of money too.
If you guys don't know, he sued George Stephanopoulos, as he calls him. And he won $16 million, and also CBS.
And that's why I sued the New York Times 2 days ago for a lot of money. Because I'm winning. I mean, I'm winning the cases. And the reason I'm winning is because you're guilty, John. You're guilty. ABC is a terrible network, a very unfair network, and you should be ashamed of yourself. NBC is equally bad. I don't know who's worse. I think they're equally bad. And, for you to stand there and act so innocent and ask me a question like that. But look, you paid a big price because you were dishonest, John. The reason I won that lawsuit was because you were dishonest. You were proven to be dishonest. And so you can't sit back and just say, oh, well, what do you think? Like you're some wonderful person. You're not a wonderful person. Frankly, you're a terrible reporter. You know it, and so do I.
I just like so much funny stuff happening. It just hammers him right to his face. They ask these dumb questions. He says, that gotcha question. Are you upset with the people saying about you? What's he gonna? They're just trying to get a rise, trying to get a reaction. It's just ridiculous. At this point, he's probably tired of winning. He said we would get tired of winning, but there's so much winning. Sit down and shut the F up is what he says. So there you have it, guys. That's all the time we have for today. We did a lot on here. We went long, and gosh, there's probably more stuff we haven't gotten to, but we will be back tomorrow night, Jeff. What else do we... hopefully everybody has a great weekend. And anything before we get out of here?
We have nothing else to share. We'll be back on tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with more amazing content. Bring a friend next time. Everybody make a note. Everybody bring a friend.
Bring a friend.
Invite a friend onto the podcast. We'll double our numbers in one show if everybody invites a friend on. Say, hey, got this amazing geopolitical crypto content. Highly recommend you join us tomorrow night, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then again, especially when we get Michael Carbonara on the show, we'll make sure we give some good runway for that announcement. We'll highlight that, and we'll make sure everybody brings two friends to that event.
Yeah, knock on your neighbor's door and say, if you want to make an enemy, if you want to make a new enemy, knock on your neighbor's door and tell them to start watching us. Let's do it. That's all the time, guys. We'll see you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff. Oh!
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.